Speaking of improvements, what did you both make of Manchester United's performance yesterday?
I thought you were all right. To be fair, I thought. Listen, it was a bit of a second stringy
Yes.
team. It was a little bit, but I think. Do you know what the thing is with Man United? I think that it's not so much once again about the score or who you're even playing against. To be honest, it's the way you're playing on the pitch yourself. Like, just let's not look at who you're playing. Forget who they're playing. You could be playing Club America. You could be playing Man City. You could be playing Real Madrid. If you're looking at just how Manchester United as the team is playing, it's a lot better. Like, there's a lot more. You're actually got a little bit of you're starting to develop that identity again. I feel like last season, I can't remember seeing an identity at Manchester United at all through the whole season. It was like, who the hell is this team? And what is Manchester United? Like, what do they do in the pitch? You're starting to be able to see that now. So I think Man United should be positive going into the season. Yes, you didn't win. You lost on penalties, but it doesn't. We won the Community Shield last year to Man City, and Man City went and won the league. So it does. It's nice to win. It's that nice feeling pre-season to get that bit. But I think Man United done enough. And the way you lost it was a little bit annoying. Little shades of last season that you took the lead and you just couldn't see that game out. Might have been a little bit annoying. Should Bernardo Silva have been on the pitch? I know, Terry. I know a lot of Man United fans.
I tweeted. I kind of saw. I didn't see. So I don't know what I was doing. I kind of missed it in real time. It wasn't until I saw the replay, and then I went back and watched. Because I had the game on record on Sky, and I went back and watched it, and I was sitting there thinking, it's not even a late tackle. It's an assault. It doesn't. I like. It was. I mean, he's not even looking at the ball. The ball's gone, then he smashed him. But yeah, it was a yellow card. I thought when I said it was a red card on Twitter, I was trolling a little bit and having a bit of a laugh. But no, I agree with you. Look, if I get the stuff out of the way that needs to improve, we need to be more clinical. Clinical edge was lacking yesterday, but we were creating the chances. I do also agree that it wasn't the best City team. However, that City team is probably good enough to beat 90% of the Premier League. And last season, when we played most of the Premier League, we weren't playing that nice of football. So we have to put context on it. We know we need to improve the base level of technical ability at the club. But I think our transfers thus far have done that. If you have Lissandro and Yoro and or Delit playing out from the back yesterday, I don't think it takes us 25 minutes to... I think it took us 25 minutes to kind of build a bit of confidence. Also, City couldn't keep pressing for 90 minutes. There comes a point where they have to sit off a little bit because of that. So we need to work on the playing out from the back element. But I like some of our passages of play. We've been doing it, in fairness, we've been doing it since the Arsenal game at the end of last season. We've been covering the midfield. Suddenly, Casemiro's legs didn't look gone, did they? Because he's got people around him, not leaving him exposed. I thought we actually had a really good game. A couple of poor passes in our own final third that put us under a bit of pressure. But I saw good quality City players do that too. So I was encouraged. Of course, I wanted to win. I'm not sitting here and, it doesn't matter, just a friendly. I wanted to win. I was gutted that we didn't, especially after leading in the penalty shootout. But as I said in my match reaction yesterday, I can take something from this game because there's a base to grow from. And I've watched all our preseason matches so far. We lost some and won some. But in all of those games, we've been in the match. In all of those games, we've had some really good passages of play. Now, I just hope that echoes in real football. But we kind of saw it in the Community Shield, which is generally more competitive than a normal friendly is. Our first game's at home against Fulham. And I'm really, for the first time in a long time, I'm excited about watching a Man United game. I always want us to win. I was hopeful we win. But we played such bad football for large parts of the last campaign. It was the lowest amount of GA on our goal since we beat Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup last season, which in my opinion was only one of 3 or 4 actual top performances we put in the whole of last year. It's the lowest amount of shots we've conceded against Man City in 8 to 9 years. And I think there's green shoots of hope there. That is also without any of our new signings being on the pitch. And a lot of our first teamers like Mainu and Bruno and the like being fit and ready to go. So I think there's some things to be encouraged about, but I said it yesterday and I'll say it again. We have to keep our feet very firmly on the floor. This is the beginning of a long journey. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be defeats. There's going to be days where it doesn't come off. We saw yesterday, like Johnny Evans running the wrong direction. The pass went behind him, nearly conceded. As we start to adapt our style there is going to be mistakes, there's going to be problems, and fans have got to, like, I don't want to start badly, but I also don't want to start perfectly either. Because if you start perfectly, then you get the setbacks. People go regressing. Where if you start off a little slowly and get better and better, people think that there's progression, but progression isn't always linear in that way. So look, I'm encouraged, but we've got to keep our feet on the floor and keep working our backsides off, because there's a long way to go yet.
I'm gutted for you lot as well. Like, as a football fan, I'm actually gutted for Man United that Højlund picked up that injury. Because I'll be honest, like, I was actually impressed with him. I know it was only a little short period against Arsenal, but I feel like he's someone that it would have been nice for you lot to have seen how he looks in the team through pre-season. Maybe some of them losses that you got might not have been losses with him. Like, I actually thought and I do think he is your main striker next season.
I agree. I agree with that. Look, and I think Rasmus going off injured and not having Xerxes, who, by the way, is a unit. He's 6'4". For some reason, I thort he was small. I thought he was short.
When he dribbles, it's the low gravity, bro. He
sort of like crouches down. So if we'd have had him coming in instead of the false nine, we would have looked a little better, I think. And I'm gutted that he's had the injury setback. Of course, you know, these freak accidents sometimes happen on the football pitch. But sorry, Don, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say, listen, it's just the basics of the game. You know, off the ball, just tell your team to not be in large amount of spaces, bro. And that's what happens. It makes it harder for teams to break you down. You know, I like the little combinations that you lot were doing in like near the 6-yard box where you were just playing it quickly. Keane spoke about it as well at halftime. He said, yo, I don't know why not enough teams do this. Like, if you play 1-2-1-2, as much as Man City are the best team in the world, arguably at the minute, it's still hard to defend against that if you're moving the ball quickly, you know? But I wanted to speak about Jermaine Jackson, bro. You know what I'm saying? I thought Jermaine Jackson retired a long time ago, you know, with the Jackson 5 and that. But he seems to be playing for Man United right now. You know what I'm trying to say? And he's stinking out the place for over a year. You know, what is going to happen with Jermaine this year, Terry? You know, he can't have another season collecting 300K a week, right? Putting out performances like this. Because if it's the likes of Mudryk putting out these sort of performances, he gets cooked. Yeah, absolutely cooked. Now, I know with Rashford, he's obviously got a CV. But end of the day, that CV means nothing at the minute, right? Sterling's got a long CV. If I ask Giuseppe, would you take Sterling? He'll most likely say, no, that's a backward step. If I ask most of these guys, Man City, would you take Sterling back? They'll tell me no. And that's what a lot of people are now looking at Rashford like. If you go and bring a Rashford right now, it's a backward step.
But I don't disagree in the sense of he should have scored one of those chances yesterday. But at least one of those two chances he should be scoring. There's no doubt about it in my mind. If not both, can agree on that. That element I'll criticize him for. Rest of his play I was happy with. So what I won't do, especially with you, Don, that talks about, well, what else do you do in games? He had a very good overall game where he was involved and he was dangerous and he kept the play moving. So what you've said before on the terrace many times is get rid of GA for a minute. Like, what else did you do in the game? So in this instance, the GA wasn't there, but he was very much part of what the team did defensively and in the attack. But where I agree with you is that, of course, he has to start scoring. Of course he does. And if he has another season this campaign like last year, we have to move him on because we cannot be embroiled in any more sentimentality anymore. Oh, I hope he comes good next time. We've done this far too long over the last 11 years where this season will be his year. This season will be his year. Do you know what? I watched him in pre-season. This season's his year. So I'm old enough and ugly enough to have that conversation. I don't take it personally. And I look at the two lads that look like they're in scintillating form at the moment. Garnacho came on and looked far more mature. His decision-making was excellent. Ahmad started the game, and once we got into it, he was dangerous. He had Guardiola looking all types of confused about what's going on. If he'd have just squared the ball a little bit better, then Money Mace would have put the ball into the back of the net. He slightly overcooked the pass. But from my perspective, I don't disagree with the Rashford thing, but it isn't the be-all and end-all for me. So for me, it's a case of what I'm imploring Man United fans to do is have those conversations, but they're a side dish. They're the corn on the cob that you order. In fact, they're the butter that you put on the corn on the cob.
Side dish. One of your main starters is a side dish that is not performing.
Absolutely. The reason why I say it's a side dish is because the mains is how we are collectively performing as a football team. And if there is a player like Rashford who doesn't pick up his confidence and start scoring more goals on a regular basis, then you just say to the waitress, look, You know, that corn on the cob's cold. Bring me, in fact, you know what? Take it back. I want some chicken wings on the side instead, please. And then you bring in somebody else that comes into that position.
So
Man United
make
fans,
or break here for him then? Is it make or break for him?
I think for anyone who's been at the club already for 2 years or more, this is a make or break season for them. Absolutely, this is a make or break season for anybody. Ineos have been very clear when you read what they've said. People, there's like a 2-year plan. When you buy someone new, they've got 2 years to make it at your club, or they're off ski. So if you've already been at the club 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and you've had some patchy periods, you have got to start delivering now. But the reason why I'm saying it isn't the main focus is because I think the biggest thing fan bases have to start doing is stop. It doesn't mean don't talk about the situation, but making it, we're struggling because of Rashford. If you make Rashford the biggest talking point, as opposed to a talking point, it's all, once he's dropped, I don't know if your fan bases do this, but Man United fans do it all the time. Drop Rashford, we're cooking. You drop him, you're not focusing on the actual problem at your club. Yeah, we still look as bad, because it wasn't like when Rashford spent time out last season before injured and stuff, that we dramatically improved on a regular basis. There were some dickheads at Man United that thought when the virus Pogba leaves, watch how good we get. All of the time, rivals kind of goad us into it, and we're too stupid or too silly or too ignorant, really, to look beyond it and say, yeah, I agree, he's been in bad form, he's got to improve. If he doesn't, we replace him. And the actual main focus is how are we playing as a team? Where do we need to improve? Is it technically? Is it in terms of the strategy on the pitch? Or is it an individual player? Have that debate and move on. But Rashford scoring or not isn't the reason why Manchester United per se have been where we are. But yeah, he needs to get better. There's no doubt about it. But we have players coming into the team now like Xerxes. We have Garnacho that's looking good. There's Ahmad who's in this team. Look, and Sancho may be staying. And if he does leave, then we might buy somebody else. And Rashford should be put under pressure. Sentimentality and favoritism needs to be excluded from Manchester United. We need to go back to being a ruthless team that rewards success and you demote and sell mediocrity and failure. And if we start doing that, we will become a threat again.
I think with Rashford this year, listen, it's make or break, Terry. Like what you're saying, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, because you brought in Xerxes, who last season for Bologna, he created the most chances for them, I believe, from open play, right? And with Rashford, he did really well with Weghorst, who was basically just like like the mannequins you get in training, where you just play it to them and it comes back to you, right? That's what Weghorst was. But he wasn't really getting that same link up with Hoyland, for example, right? Whereas Xerxes is going to want to get him involved in the game, helping him with the late runs and whatnot. So it's going to help Rashford and bring out the strengths, because we've seen a lot of weaknesses in his game last season. We know his all-round game is not great. What you want Rashford doing is being in and around the box and letting off shots. He can improve his creativity, but I think he's past that point now, Terry. I don't see him changing his game in terms of constantly creating like a Palmer, like a Saka.
But that isn't what he is.
That's what I'm saying. Let me land my point.
Oh, sorry.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see him changing his game, but he can still be effective in other ways. So what I'm saying is the signing of Xerxes, for example, I think will definitely help him. But if he doesn't improve this season, or he just kind of stagnates, I think it might be time to sort of cash in, bro.
No, of course. And I don't disagree. I love Marcus Rashford, but I'm a Man United fan. And if we have to improve on him because he doesn't get back to what he did 2 seasons ago, it doesn't need maybe necessarily score that many goals to not be a failure, because that was one of the highest goal scorers in Europe. But he has got to be looking at 30 plus GA each season, bare minimum, plus performances. You've almost got to be setting these standards for these players, especially someone that's 26 turning 27. I think that's how old he is. So yeah, I don't disagree with that element at all. And if it improves Man United, like people sometimes take it as a knock. I'm like, no, getting rid of a player that isn't delivering is a good thing for my club. Keeping him is what we should be getting bantered for if he's failing, not getting rid of him. But for some reason, football fans have been sort of indoctrinated into this player over club mentality.
It's the same thing as Reece James, bro. I said, like, for me, after the surgery, I said, this is it. I said, I've got one more in me, and that's it. And if he can't stay fit majority of the season, let's get rid of him. You know what I'm trying to say?
It isn't unrealistic for Marcus Rashford, who, again, this is always if he's fit, who will play between 50 and 60 games in a season to aim to get around 30 plus GA in all competitions. I don't think that's like 15 league goals, say 5 to 10 assists in the league, and then you know, you're going to play 6, 7, 8. You know, you could play 10 to 12 Europa League games. You should be able to hit 30 as when you want to be a lead attacker at one of the biggest clubs in the world. I think you've got to be setting those standards for a player of his age. You really, really do.